with one of them, I heard regret that they went to work for the government. They should have started there.
Oh, in the cartels?
Yeah.
And what was his logic?
They take care of their families more. They have better pay. They have actual support behind them.
What about the though? Did you ask him about that?
Yeah.
What did he say?
It's worth it for their families. Which is something I guess I can understand. The acts of villainy being justified by the ability to have kids and being able to see them into the future.
So that other people can't, though.
Again, Mexico is all about.
Yeah.
Let's see the whole aspect of it later.
What did your parents like? Did you ever talk with them? Like growing up, once you kind of found out about the cartels, you see these Robin Hood type figures. Like,
Yeah.
What did they have to say about it?
I mean, my mom was a character. It's actually her birthday today. She passed away a few years back, but
I'm sorry.
but it's pretty cool that it's her birthday and I'm here.
That's cool.
My mom was a character. She was a ninja. She grew up in a very, very dangerous part of Tijuana, a shanty town. It's gone now. It was swept away by a storm.
By a storm?
Yeah, it used to be called Cartonlandia, or the cardboard land, basically. There was a storm, and it was right on the Tijuana River estuary. That's where she lived. Horrible family situation. Dad abandoned them when she was about 12, I think. She always carried a knife since she was a kid. That's who I learned that from. She was a very religious Catholic. She hated. That's where she grew up.
Whoa, that was her neighborhood.
That was her neighborhood, Cartonlandia. There was a giant storm in DJ, and that swept all that shit away.
I now see what you mean.
That's where she grew up. So she had, like, I show a lot of tradecraft stuff to people in government. I show them how to do a lot of sneaky shit. I have to say that my mom was probably the biggest ninja I've ever met. She was a nurse, so like we would go to, like, if you're a nurse in Mexico, you're basically like a surgeon general, you know? Like somebody needs an injection, they'll knock on the door. If somebody gets shot and they want to go to the hospital, they'll knock on your door. My mom was like a community doctor in a lot of ways. So that's who I learned most of the ways I am, I guess, from. My dad, on the other hand, a dandy, you know? He's like a fun guy, party, you know, carefree dude. None of them involved in any sort of criminal activities, like none of that shit. Like none of them are, like both of them are God-fearing, fucking fairness, the law, and just fucking do things that's like both of them clean in that way. When they start seeing a lot of this shit just creeping into our lives, so I get warnings about it, basically.
They didn't want that for you, obviously.
No. So you can imagine their surprise when their kid with spiky hair. And
you had spiky hair?
I had a spiky. I'll show you a picture if you want.
Yeah. I gotta see that. You took it all. I was gonna ask you, like, were you emo? I guess you went the whole way.
No, I exploited. I used to listen to the Exploited a lot. UK subs, like Rancid. Then I was into the weird ska shit for a while. But I was like spiky hair, you know, Operation Ivy. That was my thing. I was spiky hair, you know. And all of a sudden, I shave all that off and I hand them over my orders. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? So I'm going to go be a part of this. And they were like, both of them obviously viewed it as a death sentence.
Because you're going on the right side of things and the other ones are so powerful.
Yeah. So both of them viewed it as a death sentence. And this is from parents that had lost a child already.
Yeah, what happened with your brother?
He passed away in a very traumatic way. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. How old were you?
13.
Okay.
My mom went psychiatric and my dad went alcoholic when that happened. So in a lot of ways, I kind of raised myself after that. And while they were kind of getting their shit together and they became president again in my life, is when I dropped the whole, I'm gonna go off to do this shit. They were horrified. My mom specifically was horrified by it. She's like, what the and more so about the fact that they were going to use me. Like that, she was onto it. but I refused to see it. Both of them gave me some pieces of advice when I graduated. Don't get into anybody's pocket. Don't let anybody own you. And nobody's against you. They're for themselves. Learn this and treat everybody like a friend. Basically, is what my mom told me when I graduated and I got this gold-colored shield badge. And a radio, a handgun that I've never shot before, 2 magazines, fucking cheap-ass second chance vest, and off I went. You know, they give you this programming inside where you're like capable of everything, and the training you get and all this. You know, you're this machine now, and all of a sudden you go outside and you realize how fucking outnumbered you are.
Yeah.
It's insane to realize once you're outside. And I mentioned the badge because that badge rarely came out because it was a bullet magnet. You put that badge on, fucking walk around.
Absolutely.
It dawned on me a few years into my career that we were the enemy, that we were the villains in the story. Like, I didn't figure that out for a while. I was frustrated. Like, why?
All of you?
I mean, a lot of us were, I guess.
The corrupt ones?
No. We were cops in a place where we were going after the people that sustained families, that paid for school. We were putting people away that were head of households and leaving their kids to now figure out shit for themselves.
But hold on. You thought that, even though the people you're putting away...
It's independent of that. That's the sentiment we got back from the people that we're supposed to defend.
Okay. So you're saying you realize you're the bad guys because the people looked at you as the bad guys, not necessarily because you are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no positive feedback there. There's no, hey, you did a good job with this. Here's your commendation. Here's your reward. No, there's like being spat on or hiding the fact that you work in that field because that's fucking suicide socially for anybody. Hey, you want to date somebody? If you want to become celibate in Mexico, just tell all the chicks you meet you're a cop. Like back then, I'd say gay porn actor would be way fucking better. I mean, they would get fucking away from you as soon as you you're what? Fuck that.
Wow.
And society and like in general, like even in the U.S., I say, what did you do for a living? I was a cop in Mexico. Immediately, they're like, corrupt. They imagine me, with the money bags. I don't know. So imagine if that is all the way over here. Imagine close by. So the villainy aspect of what I was doing just became apparent. It's thankless as shit. Treated like shit. You couldn't get a bank loan of any kind or a credit card.
Because the banks are in the cartel pockets?
Because there's no way they're going to give credit to a cop. Who's going to pay for it?
Oh, because he's going to get shot.
It's another thing that people don't realize.
Wow.
I don't know if it's changed now, but back then, the first credit card I ever had was in the U.S.
Whoa.
I remember going to fucking like Wells Fargo, and they were like, yeah, you can get a credit card. I was like, what? A what? For people, like, that's another aspect of my life that people don't realize. It's like I lived in this bubble where everything was being fucking supplied to me. I was living in military barracks sometimes, hotel rooms. I would get a fucking debit card, and the government paid me through that, and cash, and it's like I didn't know anything else. I was just fucking in this bubble, and all of a sudden I'm outside of it. So I started learning things, like credit cards are a thing. I could never get one.
I'm almost surprised, though, because of where you were. We haven't talked about this on the podcast yet, but you were talking about this off air before we started today. Where you were in Tijuana, you were in a border town, and you were saying you go back and forth to the U.S. all the time. Your future wife came from the U.S.
Cash.
So, like,
cash?
But you're using cash, but you didn't, like, pick up on things there, like, oh, wow, they have this.
Yeah. I mean, I knew about them, but I just never had any. Like, I was a fucking 30 35-year-old teenager in a lot of ways, just fucking coming out of that fucking job where I'm like, oh, hold on, there's credit cards?
Yeah.
Like this is a thing? Or like simple thing, man. And my marriage ended because I was fucking feral, you know? Not in, basically I was this fucking giant kid coming out of that job. It's like I didn't know how to fucking be normal, I guess. So my sleep patterns were all fucking disrupted. I thought it was normal to drink yourself to sleep every 3 days.
Well, you had massive trauma too.
But I didn't know. I didn't know PTSD was a thing. Although people up here now seem to think it's not a real thing. I don't know if it's real.
Who says it's not a real thing?
A few high-level people are saying that PTSD is not a real thing. It's just a overlapping concept that is covering up substance abuse and other things.
Such bullshit.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
In my view, like again, I when something would happen at work, something traumatic, something horrible, you don't say shit.
Yeah, you compartmentalize it.
Because if you say anything, you're going to get sent to the psychologist. And what do you think disqualifies you from the ability to carry a firearm in Mexico legally?
Talking to the psychologist.
So nobody fucking talks to the psychologist ever. Because it's going to disqualify you from being able to carry a gun. If you can't carry a gun in that job, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
So anytime something horrible would happen, you're just like, hey, chingate unas cheves. Just drink some fucking beers and you're fine. 2 days later, just show back up. And all that shit gets caked on. And if people want to understand what alcoholism is, or at least what it was to me, and what I miss about it, I miss dreamless sleep.
Dreamless sleep.
Yeah, dead silent sleep. Like I don't miss Yingling. My favorite beer in Kentucky, Yingling. If you're hearing us, company, great beer. Just that I don't drink it anymore. But I remember like seeing people drinking Bud Light and shit like that, or it's like, why are you drinking this light stuff? It's taking too long. It's fucking just heavy fucking dark beer or tequila, mezcal. I just like the sleepless, dreamless, the dreamless sleep, dead sleep is what I miss about it. And in a lot of ways, it was a pause button.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to deal with all this horrible shit.
Turn yourself off.
And it manifests itself in your life in a lot of weird ways. I had a moment in my life where I went through something horrible, like shooting, shit everywhere. When I got back home, like I was about to take a shower. Like I turned the shower on, and I went to the fridge to grab some beer, and there was no beer. So like, fuck. I went to my alcohol cabinet, and if you're an alcoholic, you have shit hidden.
Yeah.
So I went to all my spots, and I just all I could find was some peach flavored schnapps. It's not schnapps of what's it called? I don't know. Some fucking alcohol, horrible fucking alcohol, sweet. And as I'm this thing down, because my body's just like now. I'm digging through my hair, and I pull out a piece of a molar, like a human molar,
Like a tooth.
like a tooth, like a piece of one. And if you've ever smelt an open cap, like when somebody's getting dentistry done and they like open up like a tooth enamel cap and you smell, it just hit me. And something happened, like something just my like body just came like something happened to my software, I guess. I woke up like 5 hours later, I guess. The shower was still going.
Oh, so you just shut down? You like
Yeah,
fainted?
it's like, I don't know what happened. Just blacked out. And to this day, like I have this fucking like teeth, dentistry, all that shit just freaks me the fuck out. There's something about it.
Do you know what that was from?
Somebody got shot somewhere around me, and I got that left as a. Like you become desensitized to smells.
Yeah.
And to like being dirty, to self-care, like all that shit. Just there's no time for it. So you're, you know. And after a while, it's basically a dopamine addiction. Or, I mean, if you're in that life, dopamine gets fed constantly. And when that stops, you look for it in other ways.
How does dopamine get fed constantly? Meaning like
I mean, you're involved in shit.
Thrills of shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't have fun with it. It's fucking great. Imagine you're fucking 26 years old and somebody says, hey, you know how to operate a grenade launcher? It's like, you're like, fuck, do I say no? Do I say yes? It's like, I watch a few movies. I think you're supposed to like whine it.
Figure it out.
You're supposed to whine it and then put the grenades in. So this is your reality. And you're fucking running around doing wild shit with wild people. But then that ends. And then what do you do then?
You can't fill that void. There's no way. Like, I've talked to a lot of my friends who, were tier 1 operators talk about that.
Yeah.
They talk about how, war is hell, but when you're in the middle of the shit in a mission doing the things you've been trained to do at the highest level where it's life and death at any given moment, the adrenaline rush and the feeling and the high you get from that, like, it can't be replaced, but when you come back, a lot of them have talked about you find some weird ways to try to fill it.
Yeah.
Doing stupid shit.
Self-destructive way.
Yes.
It's like, hey, it's a good idea to date that girl over there who is really horrible, probably.
Right.
All the red flags are there, and you're like, dude, if you're my friend, don't tell me not to date somebody because of all the red flags, because my brain is like dopamine.
Right.
Because my brain is like dopamine. That's where you... Or alcohol. Like, I remember just being an alcoholic up here in the States and having my friends drink with me, and all of a sudden everybody's gone, and I'm like at the end of this fucking drinking everybody on the table. And it's a thing to boast about at that time with me, and I was like, fucking, I'm a horrible person.
But you would start dealing with alcohol it sounds like early on while you were on the job.
Dude, I was functionally drunk. I was a functionally drunk alcoholic since I was 21.
Was there like a certain event that caused that where you used
it was just monkey see, monkey do. Everybody, we would come back from something that was like fucking, oh, that was fucking close. Or hey, you would see an empty seat in the back of the car. Or you would see a face you recognize on the news of somebody being found somewhere.
You lost a lot of friends on the job, right?
Yeah. And it was weird. Some of them are weird and hang with me because it's not like we had bodies sometimes. They just go. Every now and then, like I was, every time I stayed at a hotel, I have the same kind of weird feeling. We used to live at hotels, so I think that's a reason why I still kind of do it, I guess.
You would live at hotels?
Yeah. Yeah, we get moved around a lot, so we're doing shit places. So we would live at hotels for periods, or sometimes military barracks or wherever. We would take turns, watching our asses. So somebody would stand and watch at night. There was fire watch at these hotels. Sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night and just peek through the window, and one of our guys was outside smoking a cigarette with a rifle and a blanket over it, just covering us. And say if some shit happens, you have somebody watching. And every now and then, this government work, so a single hotel room with 2 beds, it means that there's 5 people sleeping there, or 6.
Close quarters.
There were 2 guys that I worked with, some of the first people that I lost. Brilliant people. One of them was named Lion. He would call his girlfriend and like sing her songs. And after she would go do shit at night, fucking come back 3 a.m, fucking calling this chick and singing fucking these fucking love songs to her. and the other guy, strong dude. First time I was made to do fire watch. I didn't have a wristwatch, because I was a fucking skateboarding idiot kid. I didn't know anything about responsibilities. So he gave me the watch off his wrist, so I could take time. It's like, dude, you need to have a watch. So he gave me his watch. One night, I was coming back, and they were going out. And I fucking remember them clearly because they were fucking smiling and shit like that. Fucking bunch of idiots.
Like going out on the town.
They were going out to work.
On a patrol. Okay.
Some sort of work. We say patrol now, but they were probably going to go park somewhere and look at a house or
Got it. Chase
somebody of some sort. Both of them give me a lot of shit when I get there. Both of them, we all make plans to go out and eat and get drunk the next day. I hear him talk to his girlfriend before he leaves. I hear my other friend talk to his wife. And then they're gone. They just leave. And I remember when there's a hotel door, the way that it snaps closed, it always makes me remember them. We never found them. They disappeared completely. Like nothing.
Do you know who did it?
They're gone. Now, there's no closure there. There's no, I don't know. It's this weird void. And there's a few of them that went that way, where we never found them. And then there's some that we did find, which are at the other fucking side of that spectrum. One of them was right, like, again, my generation. He came out with my generation. His last name was Arenas, a lawyer who got bored with the whole lawyer career and decided to fucking join this fucking group that we're in.
Whoa.
He got picked up by dudes dressed as federal agents outside of the hotel, along with somebody else. And in the span of a night went through, I can't imagine. Whatever I went through was nothing. When we found him, he had his ID screwed to his forehead. To see somebody that you celebrate with, that you eat with, that you go through this hardship with, training-wise, that you meet their families. I mean, I can remember the graduation, meeting his family. And all of a sudden, he's gone. But you have a clear understanding of how he went. Obviously, this makes you... I mean, all of us were vengeful, bloodthirsty, and angry about this. And I know a lot of us basically lost parts of our soul being that way. You know, a lot of people like to glorify fucking gung-ho shit and stuff like that. I don't. It's fucking horrible. And people that I've heard people kind of glorify some of that shit, and I guess
like going back for vengeance kind of deal.
War, violence, that type of shit. I think people that do glorify it or are nonchalant about it have they had the privilege of being able to go home after war. You know, I've heard people talk mad shit about some of the stuff they did in Afghanistan and Iraq as a jubilant experience. But I just can't do the same on my end. It's too close. The people I was facing spoke the same language. Sometimes burials would happen at the same funerary service of ours and theirs. So,
wait, burials would happen at the same...
So a funerary service, basically where they would do the wakes, were hired sometimes by their families and ours. So sometimes we would have some of our guys being in funeral wakes. And
oh, my God. And that car... Oh, wow.
So sometimes there were like truces where we were like, hey,
That's so.
let's just bury these people. It's a different conflict down there.
Yeah.
It's its own thing. If people want to equate it to something else, if people want to call these cartels terrorists and equate them to Al Qaeda, they're fucked. That's not the same thing. They're different. It's a different problem. And it is producing a whole generation of people like myself with a lot of skills that are not going to be able to implement those skills in other ways other than what they do now. So I think that's going to be the resistance that people are going to meet in the future.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Other than what they do now?
I mean, speaking to my friend Gafe in Jalisco, he was trained to be like this elite war fighter. Like, Gafe is a scary dude. Like, I know shit, but I'm scared of him. You know, he knows how to take down a fucking small government, probably. And then he was let go. Like, he's one of many out there like that. I think a friend of mine shared this quote from True Detective. You know, be careful what you get good at.
Oh yeah, it's a good quote.
And Mexico has a lot of people like myself that got good at just a specific thing. And they're out there. What are they going to do? If this all, you know, I think I said there was going to be some sort of incident in Mexico that's going to make the U.S. act directly on the ground at some point. I said that 5 years ago. And here we are with open warnings for the Border Patrol that certain cartel elements are planning on using drones to drop bomblets on them.
What's going on there?
I don't know. That doesn't seem like something that would happen, that cartels are going to say,
That would be
announce
an act of
it.
war now, right?
I think that would be an excuse for the United States to do what it wants to do anyway.
Which is?
Have control over the future of Mexico as a country and its potential.
Through a potential invasion type scenario?
Yeah. You know,
You think that's
a
possibility?
We are in a country that had 2 buildings knocked down by a bunch of Saudis and some Egyptian people. Mm-hmm. And then we proceeded to attack Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's in the realm of reason that something could happen on that border, real or staged, that could cause the United States to put boots on the ground in Mexico. I think more realistically what's going to happen, hopefully none of that happens, because that's going to be fucking horrible for both sides. People thinking it's going to be a cakewalk are fucking fooling themselves. They should actually look and speak to some of the people that are actually involved in military planning. And plans to invade Mexico are already on the books out there. You can research. There's some people online there's a YouTube video of some general somewhere talking about how invading Mexico would be kind of difficult. And the main thing I think is the economic effects are going to be felt right in your front door. So this is not going to be like, there's a war in Afghanistan and all we hear about it is on the news. Now we're going to feel it economically. Products are not going to be on those aisles. People are not going to show up to work. Maybe people are going to have to go back. I don't know. It's not going to be we're going to feel it if it happens, like directly. That could happen, or
what would the cartels do in that scenario? Would they team? I mean, they already are teamed up with the government, but would there be some official insurgency teamed up with the government?
I had this conversation when, again, Gafe, who is
badass.
He's a ninja. His response was this: if the U.S. decides to attack in a very overt Afghanistan, Iraq type way, shock and awe type way.
Hey guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge, huge help. Thank you.
A criminal institution or a cartel that has some sort of governments in the local area that it operates in, it's going to turn them into martyrs. And it's going to turn them into freedom fighters instead of cartel members. And in that case, we're currently living in Mexico has an antagonist government against the U.S. Mm-hmm. So if the U.S. attacks one of these cartel groups and affects a local populace in a direct way, or there's a lot of collateral damage, it's going to be hard for them not to decide with whoever was attacked.
Oh yeah.
And the sentiment that he expressed to me is that if the U.S. makes the mistake of doing something like that, it's game on. And yeah, the Mexican army doesn't have a lot of technological advances, but they're very experienced people. They don't have the ability to send a fucking cruise missile into the middle of the U.S., but they have people that have clear spoken English like I do. They have people that are into fucking espionage, sabotage, explosives. Yeah. There are people that are going to take off their uniforms and go into the fucking local populace and do what the Zetas did.
And there's also a significant population here in our country as well.
Yep.
That would be very reachable in many cases.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about fucking Alex Jones level conspiracy shit,
it's all the Mexicans.
But
come for us.
But if realistically, if they wanted to do something against the U.S., poison a few drug loads.
Yeah. It's not like
that's
the scary thing. It's not hard.
Poison a few drug loads. Target infrastructure on the border. You're worried about your planes? They have abilities to take on planes.
Anti-aircraft missiles and stuff.
Yeah. Also, just a drone. A drone can take out a helicopter if you put your mind to it. It's an enemy. I don't think that the U.S. realizes. And I hear people online talk about this. Fucking kick the A-10 Warhogs and we'll kick the cartel's ass. Yeah, you'll destroy the overt side of it, but there's other parts of it that are going to hide. You can swat a few flies at the start. This happened in Iraq.
Yeah.
They went in guns blazing and then they adapted, and now they started blowing them up from afar.
Yeah, think about Afghanistan too. You were fighting the geography. That's why the war, over time, even ended up turning. Took a long time. Like, obviously, the U.S. did well at first, but you're fighting with the mountains as much as you're fighting with the people. The geography in Mexico is all over the place.
Yeah, that's the main thing that I like. The Sierra Madre, that geography is going to kick ass. I mean, as far as trying to figure out a control aspect of it. I'm predicting that there is going to be a targeted drone strike somewhere in Mexico of a high-level cartel member.
By the U.S.
By the U.S. Because it's very on point for them. When I say them, like
Soleimani. The same thing.
Soleimani?
Yes.
Remember General Soleimani?
Yeah, Iran.
He got hit by one of those Ginsu knife missiles. So it's a Hellfire missile. Or I might be wrong. It's not my fucking wheelhouse, but it's a missile that will put out 3 surgical katana blades out of it. So it's designed to be very targeted. So you can be in the passenger seat of a car, and this thing's gonna. That's what I think we're gonna see in Mexico at some point. That's what I think is. I think that's in the realm of the possibilities of predicting right now. That or some sort of incident on the border that is going to justify the use of boots on the ground. And again, I think this isn't about fentanyl. This isn't about cartels. This isn't about any other thing than the global economic security of the United States into the future, and figuring out a way to control the destiny of Mexico into the future, because they realize, and everybody does now, that the whatever future there is for North America, it includes Mexico as an industrial plant. And I think that's what everybody's looking at. And the reason I say this is because and the whole designation thing and the whole anti-cartel thing, it's very bipartisan in the U.S. if you look at it.
What do you mean?
Like, both parties are like signing off on all of this.
Oh yeah, I thought you said something else. I'm sorry.
No, they're
bipartisan. You said it's bipartisan.
Bipartisan.
Yeah.
So that should, like, holy shit, they're serious about it.
They love a good war.
I get it. The economy gets fueled by it.
Yep.
The Ukrainian war is winding down, so that money's drying up. When people talk about, hey, we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, no, you're not. You're sending that money to the people that are supplying them with arms, and that's going to be cut off.
Yeah.
So who are we going to feed next? I don't know.
There's always going to be someone.
Yeah, there's always a war on the horizon. again, I'm not a warmonger. I don't want this to happen. I think the worst thing that can happen to Mexico is a full-on invasion by the United States. We've seen what that is like in other parts of the world. Every now and then, like, oh, sometimes we do it great. Like, look at Japan. Mexico is in Japan. Mexico is in Germany. It's not good for anybody. And if this is about migration, attacking Mexico is not going to do a lot of good things as far as migration. It's going to make it. You can line up all the army and the military individuals you want on that border. It's not going to be able to stop the wave of people leaving
Create
Mexico.
chaos. Absolutely.
So that's not a solution. I think, again, realizing that this is a fucking regional issue, realizing that the federal government in Mexico is not to be trusted fully, and that there are some elements of it that are probably corrupted and or compromised.
For sure.
Realizing that Mexico itself is being utilized in a proxy way from foreign powers to fuck with the U.S. and fuck with its interest. And the U.S. is doing the same in Mexico to fuck with the foreign interest there. So, and it has been doing so since at least the 60s. Its foreign policy is to blame for a lot of the things that are happening in Mexico now. The Contras were being trained in fucking cartel fields in Veracruz. We're celebrating the the arrest of Caro Quintero now because he was directly responsible for the DEA agent Akik Camarena's murder. Mm-hmm. But everybody in Mexico is like, no, the CIA did it.
Well, yeah, they're saying the allegation is that Felix Rodriguez allegedly was the undercover CIA agent. Now, he swore to Danny Jones that it wasn't him. But,
Okay.
Who knows?
A lot of people who were around for that I got to talk to, they were all like, yeah, the CIA was operating here, and he ran into something that was way beyond his pay grade, so they had to take him out. That's the narrative, and I don't know if that's true or not. Again, beyond my time. I'm just stating what the sentiment of most Mexicans are as far as that.
I share that sentiment.
So it's a clear indication that both sides have a lot of soul searching, have a lot of fucking things they need to get straight as far as their own narrative, and realizing that there is a reason and a rhyme and a reason for a lot of the stuff that is happening right now as far as Mexico and the designation of these groups as cartels, as terrorist organizations. And if we're not seeing immigration reform on this end, we should question that. If we're not seeing a Doge-like audit of the money that has been spent on this drug war for the past few decades, we should not kind of question some of that stuff. If we're not seeing any politicians, private institutions, actors, singers, a bunch of like arrested or detained because of some cartel affiliated ties now, because now it's terrorism, then we should be questioning that. Sure. And we're not seeing a lot of dramatic movements with this designation on the U.S. side, which makes me dubious that it is actually a serious attempt to go after these institutions, and it's not more than a political pressure point that the U.S. is going to pressure on these guys.
I mean, I hope for obvious reasons for everyone involved, not just my country, but Mexico and all the people that would be caught in the middle of it. I hope nothing like that happens. I hope there is some cooler heads that prevail. I recognize that in that type of scenario, cynically speaking, you're going to be accepting some evils of the world. Yeah. For sure. There's going to be things that do continue business as usual that you and I both know are just completely wrong on both sides of the border. Yeah. But I think we can all say that, you'd rather see things wrong that still need fixing that we're going to have to find new solutions for, rather than hundreds of thousands of people dying in some fucking war that, people invent. So, it's scary to hear you talking like this, but I take it seriously because, you've lived it. Yeah. You've obviously lived on both sides of the borders now, but, you've seen what these guys are capable of. You've seen what corruption in the government is capable of. You've seen it from our side, too, what it's capable of. And naturally, there are consequences that can happen from that. Mass
graves are being discovered across the country in Mexico right now, and they're being put on media as a new thing. They've been going on for decades. Mm-hmm. We've been outpacing most of the global conflicts as far as body count for years. It's just people don't keep numbers, and the numbers that are being kept are skewed by the government. Yeah. There's a war. Nobody can... the drug war? I remember as a joke, some of my veteran friends, I would go. They would take me to these veteran events, and because fucking, I don't have anything to do. So I would get asked like, oh, like what theater did you go to? Like theater operations. Like I'm from Mexico. So they made me a drug war veteran patch and put it on a hat as a joke. And
it's real though.
But that's the thing. For me, that moment was a joke. But then I turn around and I look at all the people. Like there's, like speaking to Gaffe, for example, he's a veteran, just as traumatized and as damaged as many of my friends who went through Fallujah. Except that he doesn't have any sort of recourses or veteran service or any sort of recognition or any sort of discount at a store. None of that shit. He's just like, we used you. You went through the fucking dog shitter, and now you're out, and we don't fucking disavow you. Mm. What do you think a person like that will turn into?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's...
What's interesting, though, is you talk about the guys that you lost, and you mentioned maybe like 20 minutes ago about how everyone in there, especially after your buddy was found with his ID drilled into his forehead and people knew the kinds of things that happened to him, everyone in there wanted vengeance. They had hatred for what had happened to him and the people who perpetrated it. Yeah. And what I had in my head there, and we got onto some other things, but now it feels right to go back to it, is how do people like that, some of them, end up forgetting that feeling?
They don't.
Hold on. Forgetting that feeling to the point that or compartmentalizing it to the point that some of those same people, obviously not you, but some of those same people eventually turned and went and worked for that which they hated. How do they get to that point? DNA?
Yeah. Your kids. The common denominator I've found with all these people, from cartel members to former operations guys to like everybody, people are capable of doing wild shit for their kids. And in an environment where you're not going to be able to put food on the table, or you're going to go work for a cartel and do some horrible shit for them, and not only put food on the table, but actually put them in a good school, society's going to lose every time when that selection comes in, because again, they don't get any support. There's no infrastructure to support them in and out of that job. There's nothing there to keep them honest, realistically. Everything's temporary, right? And the government, all it cares about is just like fucking keep shit quiet. When something's not popular, let's attack it. When it's not, fuck that. And every 5 years, 6 years, it gets amnesia. And everything that it did, all the people that it supported, all the people that it created, get fucking cast aside because now there's a new administration coming in and we need new blood and ideas in this. So it's basically a snake eating its tail over and over and over.
Human nature takes over.
Yeah. If I could wave a wand around, I would say the U.S. needs to take fucking close account of all the money that's been spent on that war and who lined their pockets with it. That's something I would ask. Immigration reform, right? Realizing that there are fucking high level, and when I say high level, presidents in the past in Mexico that were completely involved in cartel operations and funded their political campaigns and maybe lined their pockets with some of the money from these organizations. It's clear as day to anybody that looks at this from any angle.
I actually didn't ask you this. We talked about this way earlier, but then we got off it. When you said if they're like you think there may need to be a scenario where some of these people are brought to justice.
I think that's where we're headed.
Did you mean that I couldn't really tell. Did you mean that means the Mexican government acting on its own brings the people to justice, or the United States government acting through them, or the United States government itself somehow brings them to justice?
The United States government itself issues an arrest warrant or like fucking outs them as like, hey.
And they get deported or extradited.
Hopefully.
Interesting.
Although,
you think that Mexico would do that?
If they do that to AMLO, which, again, I know there's a lot of people here who love that man who says that he's like a force of change, but we have to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, the evidence is there as far as involvement, as far as people being intermediaries, as far as facilitators, as far as conversations happening between lawyers on El Chapo and him going to like El Chapo's hometown 6 times during his administration, and saying in front of the press that we shouldn't be consuming this Chinese shit. We should be using the local drugs instead of the Chinese stuff coming from China, right? So you have this guy, you have him. I don't think he's going to be handed over by the Mexican government. I don't think so. All of the former presidents of Mexico, a few of them, Fox not so much because he's a pothead, and I don't know, he's just a wild card.
He's funny as fuck.
He's funny. He's funny as shit. Corrupt. I think. I think he was probably.
Remember, he was like when they were talking about the wall. He was like, "Fuck you," or whatever.
He was famous for a few things. Fox was our Bush.
Ah, that's interesting.
Fox was our Bush. He's a fucking idiot. A Fox told Fidel Castro to leave like a summit. Like he called him directly and said, "Hey, the U.S. president is coming or something. Can you just leave before he gets here because he doesn't want to see you." He called this fucking Castro put that fucking shit online the next day.
No, I'll bet.
He said some pretty racist shit in the U.S. in one interview, I think. I can't say it here, but he said something about Mexicans doing jobs that not other ethnicities wouldn't do. He was a fucking idiot. Anyways, I don't think he's going to be it. It might be Calderon and Enrique Peña Nieto both live in Spain for some reason. You know,
don't they have poor extradition laws there?
They both live in Spain for some reason that I can't elaborate on.
They speak Spanish over there.
They speak Spanish, and they
sense.
probably have some pretty decent laws as far as they have some sort of government protection there, probably.
Gotcha.
But not AMLO. Andrés Manuel López Obrador, the former president of Mexico, built a finca, which is like a private ranch, with a military barracks right next to it, and a hospital. And
was he in business before he was in politics?
Politics is business in Mexico. You know,
exactly.
Everybody's Nancy Pelosi.
It's like that's what I'm gonna say. He's like fucking Nancy Pelosi.
Everybody's fucking apparently becomes really good at fucking speculating when they could join politics in Mexico. Yeah, that's why. Again, this is just judging from what I'm seeing. I think what's coming next is the naming and or the prosecution of a high level political official in Mexico. I think that's what's next.
Do your sources telling you that?
That's what the winds tell me.
And how do you like? I haven't asked you that yet today. Sure. How do you track down sources these days? Obviously, you know people from when you were in there, but you've been out for some years now. How do you track down sources? How do you communicate with them? And how do you weed out who's full of shit and who's not?
So number one, I'm not out completely because I train people constantly.
Right.
So from people on this side of the border to that side of the border, I've trained both. And I get information. They fucking send me fucking messages about what's going on. I question some of that as well. I kind of verify it. I have an amazing network of security professionals and people that I work with and journalists. Luis Chaparro is a fucking amazing dude, and I support what he does constantly, and I share all of his stuff. And I follow his stuff really closely. There is another news agency that I want to plug right now that I don't own. People think I own it or like I have some sort of involvement in there. I support the people behind it fully. It's a very non-biased news organization that is specifically on Instagram because social media is just fucking, as soon as you say cartel, you get fucking shit canned and shadow banned. Demoler is the name of this news institution.
How do you spell that for people out
Demoler, Demolre. Demoler.
Okay.
No, ER. I'm sorry.
ER.
I'm sorry. Second language. And they do a fabulous job of like investigating things and fucking sourcing stuff. Every now and then I get people that come like, hey, Ed, I have this information. I'm like, cool, go talk to all these other people.
Right.
So I have people reaching out constantly around that. And again, Demoler, they're back. They were off. They were gone for a while. They had some issues with social media and a bunch of stuff, but they're back. So I'd really recommend people follow Demoler. That's a very unbiased. Everything I get as far as like contacts and information, they all go there, and they cut out the bullshit from the real stuff. it's a savage world. Like I was telling you, I don't trust the media. The traditional media is poison.
Mm-hmm.
They're owned. In Mexico, we have a lot of that still.
Oh yeah.
It's bigger than here. So, like, I've never been on any single media outlet in Mexico. Think about that.
That doesn't surprise me.
Think about that. I've been quoted by Al Jazeera, New York Times, Fox, CNN. I've been on a bunch of platforms here in the U.S. across political affiliations, but I've never been in a single Mexican one. It might be because I'm full of shit, and they're oh, this guy is full of shit, or it might be because I'm saying some shit.
Mm.
My bets are on the fact that I'm saying some shit they probably don't like. But we have hope. We have hope in the platforms that are growing down there. These independent platforms, just like the one that I went on with Gaffe, just like this one, where people like yourself are taking their curiosity as far as what's going on in the world and adding responsibility to it, and like saying, like, hey, what is going on here? And I don't want to talk to that analyst guy over there.
Yeah.
I want to talk to this dude over here who has some fucking stories and also went through it himself. Like,
yep.
Let me see his perspective. That is something that gives me great hope.
I hope we can follow through on that for you too.
Yeah.
You know?
And more so than anything, just, dude, if you guys weren't here, if these platforms didn't exist, all the shit that I saw and all the details that I've been expressing the past few years, they're not going to be they couldn't be anywhere. I wouldn't be allowed into the door to speak about some of these things.
That's crazy.
And that's the reality we live in right now. So in my mind, the traditional media is definitely an enemy.
Well, I think a lot of people out there listening right now completely agree with you, and they've earned that by making so many mistakes, just overtly, like straight up things that you want to talk about not following journalistic integrity. I mean, where do you even begin? The thing that I do always try to think about is, I mean, obviously I can only control my actions and stuff, but there's so many people in the independent space that I respect who have brought this in. I mean, you start all the way at the top with Joe Rogan and work your way on down to so many people that have been pioneers in that way. And I think what we all got to be careful of is not over time, like this moment we're in right now where we are able to bring on people and discuss difficult topics and do it in such an unfiltered way. We can't lose that.
No.
You know, and I do think about that often because, like, I think about, even from my perspective, starting this in my parents' house with nothing, you know, just wanted to talk to people. And I'm 5 years in today as we're recording, and it's like we've kept that.
Yeah.
I have my own studio now, but it's the same shit as it was day one. And I want to be sitting here 5 years from now saying the same thing, and 5 years after that saying the same thing.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important. The only reason I got on Joe Rogan was because a lot of the former people that I used to work with were sending me videos of live shit that was going on during, like, some of the time I was active in Mexico and further on. Like, that's the only reason why I got his eye, right? Because I was sharing shit that later on I would see, like, go on to traditional media and they were fucking quoting me about it, you know? My Instagram account became legendary for, like, dropping, like, videos of shit that was happening live in Mexico. And it was funny that I would see a video that I posted that I knew where I sourced it from, posted online, and it would show up on traditional media, both sides of the border. And, you know, I've never called myself a journalist, and I never will. So people have to go to school for that.
Yeah, I've called you that, and I know you disagree, but the reason I do is because you are, whether you realize it or not, this is a compliment. You are reporting on things, and you've been doing it for years that literally at points no one was sharing.
Yeah.
And you should be commended for that.
For me, I'm more of an activist. Like, that's what I want to take about myself as. And I have people people ask me for news. You know, I'm like I give you some opinions, but if you want news, like Luis Chaparro is fucking amazing. Go talk to him. Demolaire is great. Like, independent journalism going on, just straight to the point, fucking facts. On my end, I'm emotionally invested in all of this. Like, I have hatred in my heart for some of the people that did some of the shit they did to me and my people. I have anger in my soul for the ways that some people in the U.S. speak about some of these issues as a Mexican problem only, and like we have no responsibility over this when we do. Like all of us have some sort of responsibility around some of the shit that's happening. So in that way, I can't be, I can't call myself a journalist because I have a lot of emotion invested in this.
Skin in the game. Yeah.
But all that to say that there are many people like myself that went through this process, that are many people like myself that survived a lot of this type of shit, who are, not doing podcasts, who are not fucking training government people to do weird shit in weird places, who are quietly living a life after that, working somewhere in a kitchen, somewhere in Philadelphia, or who I've met at the airport manning a bar somewhere, who have this fucking special forces training in Mexico somewhere, and they just fucking made it all the way here, and they're just quietly living their existence. There are many quiet people out there with no voices who are never going to be able to be here and sharing this with a big part of the U.S. populace. I hope I'm doing them a service. I hope I'm bringing them some sort of recognition. Most of the criticism I've gotten here in the United States has actually come from Mexicans and Mexican people because either they're too detached from the realities of Mexico, because when they go down there, they go to a tourist part and they don't get to see the bad parts of it. Yeah. Or they've spent their whole lives up here and all they hear about Mexico is what they hear through their gender studies teacher or whatever. And again, my politics are these. Like, I want to be able to go to my gay friend's wedding with a gun on my hip and be able to smoke a joint and eat mushrooms afterwards. That's what my politics are. I want less government. I want more responsibility on the part of the citizenship. I have skin in this game. I want everybody to be fucking great. I think we have the potential to be a superpower, both to combined, like a fucking light into the future. But we're not going to get there by invading each other.
Yeah.
Or if we are going to get there, it's going to cost us a few things that are probably going to be culture changing.
For sure.
I can foresee a time and a place where Mexicans are not going to be treated as these third-class citizens as they are here in the U.S. It's funny that a Canadian can travel down here, but not a Mexican, because we're somehow shadier and we're going to stay here and not going to leave or something. So there is definitely a discrimination being done to the people of Mexico at a weird scale here in the United States. Some of it has been warranted by the history of illegal immigration in this country and narcotics and organized crime. That's undoubted. But the responsibility that the United States has directly had on some of these things originating themselves is clear as well. So what do we do with both of these truths in our hands?
Imagine that, a situation that has multiple things true at the same time.
I think number one is just fucking just keep. I don't know. Like I think we just saw the United States punish the powers that be with their vote in this past election. We saw a candidate that was almost assassinated, and with a bunch of charges on him and a mugshot and all that. Mm-hmm. All of that made me feel right at home. Like, oh, this is Mexico.
It's funny.
This is Banana Republic level shit.
Yeah.
But now he's there. Now there's this whole effort being done and talk about invading Mexico and terrorist designations and all this type of stuff. But, like, I'm just waiting to see the actual effects of this. Shortages of drugs on American streets, people going into withdrawals, high-level corporate officials in different companies being arrested on their financial aid to some of these fucking drug cartels. Mm-hmm. There's a few banking institutions that were cut up in fucking money laundering situations in the past. Are they going to be brought up on fucking terrorist supporting charges?
Well, it's also complicated because, like I said, Matthew Hedger was sitting in your seat and he described how he was the one who pushed some of them to do that. So
we can't, on one hand, blame it all on Mexico, and on the other hand, have somebody like that saying, like, hey, we can't go after these because we were directly responsible
he was told to
facilitate these people that then fostered this criminal organization that has made stew out of thousands of Mexicans, and all that's left of them are their sneakers and love letters in a field somewhere in Jalisco. I spoke about the moment that I realized I was a villain in their stories somewhere out there. The U.S. has to realize the same thing. Hey, fuck, we're villains too.
Right.
And I think the only way to kind of fix things and recognize that is to just accept it, realize that went on for years, and move forward.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.